Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, everyone. I'm going to walk you through business and financial modeling. Here's my agenda. Here's a brief bio about myself. So I'm a CPA, CGA. So I've spent over 35 years working with financial data, whether I've modeled the data itself, whether I've done templates around investment, cash flow forecasting, capital budgeting decisions. I've worked with multiple ways of forecasting, looking at metrics, and taking that data to drive business plans as well. So I've carried positions like senior financial analyst up to customer success management. So when we talk about financial modeling and how we're building stronger skill sets, it's really going to come back to your background. If you come from an accounting finance background, you've already taken some of the understanding of how financial statements and concepts work, and it allows you better to expand on that. If you come from a non-financial one, it's a little bit trickier when you're looking at things, and it will require you to take some courses in financial analysis. And basically, those courses deal with ratios. They look at how a balance sheet, cash flow, and income statements are generated, and they're very helpful in terms of understanding the flow. The second thing you're going to want to do, and I did this throughout my career, is start small. Most cases when we were working on decisions, we had standard templates that the data got fed into. We had macros to pull the data from our ERP system into a format that we could then publish them into Excel templates, and they were standard so that when we were comparing entity to entity, we could do that. The second thing is I always looked at real data. In a lot of cases, I was looking at industry standards. So when I was with Praxair, I would look at Air Products, Air Gas, Air Liquide to see how they were doing in certain areas around their margins, DSO, and inventory turns. I'd also look at EBITDA and other calculations, but I would take it from the financial statements because that information is publicly available. This one's using a good example on Replicate. Leverage buyouts, I mentioned merger, but typically with those type of analysis, they're done at a high level, corporate level, and you're involving investment bankers. It's an area if you're interested in, by all means, go research it. I haven't done much leverage buyout and merger stuff. Most times when I was involved with mergers, it was the integration side of pulling things together. This gives you some ideas around best practices and using templates. We're moving more and more away from Excel into more and more OLAP tools, but Excel's not entirely will ever go away. Or with OLAP tools, it'll become a bit of an add-in, and it's something to bear in mind as we speak. I just use this as Northrop Grumman. I basically downloaded their financial statements. The trick I'm still trying to figure out is there was a difference of 161. I made the assumption it was to do with unusual gains. Usually you're able to pull everything off the income statement and the statement of cash flow when you're doing your EBITDA. The information's there. It's all pulling the stuff from the individual statements to pull it out to build the EBITDA, which is in earnings before interest, taxes, and amortization. I did the free cash flow again. You can see where I pulled this out, and this one just is a high level on the operating. It just took the net operating cash from the cash flow statement as well as the capital and expenditures and gave you the free cash flow from the operational level. I just did this briefly. This is not a complex net present value, but it just gives you an idea of the cash flow. More of these will be complex with inflows and outflows, and you'll have areas where you're going to be able to do a side cell reference to basically do the calculation. That you can build standard templates around this depending on what it is. The key is whenever I've worked with corporations, they tend to use a standard template that makes it easier so the decisions are consistent across business entity. Um, I just threw this up in terms of the FP&A team. It's become more and more involved now with the basically forecasted budgeting, performance variance, and other decisions, make or buy decisions, because you're the lead financial person, say for a business unit or at the corporate level supporting a particular department or initiative. This presentation, I have a series of templates. If you want the templates I've built, then feel free to reach out to me. I monitor the YouTube channels where I'll be posting this video and other social media. As I said, reach out to me accordingly. I also broke down in here the business unit versus the corporate. A lot of like inventory turns, you'll roll them up. Days sales outstanding, you'll roll them up. But there are things at a high level when you're starting to talk about capital allocation and stuff. Those are decisions that tend to be making at a corporate level. In summary, modeling skills are very important and you learn from experience. The more you play with it, the more you get exposed to scenarios, the more you strengthen your skills. Business modeling should also be agnostic to a tool because it's still about the design to do it. Whether you do it in Excel, whether you use OneStream board or other tools that do it, it doesn't change how you have to map out your objective. And your objectives are whether that's a ratio on EBITDA, whether that's positive net cash flow for NPV. It's all about those metrics to establish them, and then you build them into the modeling. You can go through many different ways to update your skills. And the more and more we're seeing this with LinkedIn sites, Learn Formula, which I'm actively involved with. There are sites you can go learn that. It's really up to the individual preference where they think they want to improve on their skills and where best to do that. The key is you want to speak to people that have had the experience of working with modeling, and they can provide you insight in some of the pitfalls that they've encountered and some of the stuffs you can learn from with just listening, speaking to them, because I'm a believer in that best practice is critical. The second thing is OLAP and AI are becoming a critical path is more on the engine behind the drive the business financial modeling. So it's just something to bear in mind. This is a few additional information and contact. As I said, this slide's available upon request. If you want it, you can reach out to me and I'll send it to you accordingly. Thank you.